You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the big show. It's podcast time again. I don't know. I just thought that up when I was thinking of something to do on the ramble that we always improv every show. That's probably not going to make the final cut because it sounded stupid. What do you think, Craig?
No. It sounded good.
It's podcast time.
You need characters, more voices.
Really? We need to be like the Muppets, maybe, you think? Get some other people in here on the sides and stuff like that.
As long as you're doing the voice for all of them.
Is that the key?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I didn't do the radio voice in the start thing. We hired a guy for that.
Well, he did pretty good, but think about this. I mean, people stand there and you can voice whatever they have to act out.
Ah, there you go. Well, one of the reasons we do the Chris Voss Show bit where I sing it is we did that for a week. We did the Howard Stern WNBC. And so I was doing the ChrisVossShow.com and I was singing it and fucking around for a week. And then we stopped doing it and people started calling in and they started calling from around the world. They found my number somehow, and it's supposed to be enlisted, and I'm supposed to be, hiding from the FBI on a witness protection program. But they found it, and they're like, "You got to keep doing that." I'm like, "I'm not doing that stupid bit we did for a week. It was a bit." They're like, "Nah, you got to keep doing that." Now people run up to us at shows and scream, "Oh, the Chris Voss Show!" Anyway, as you can tell, we have an amazing, smart gentleman with us on the show. As always, we have the best guests on the Chris Voss Show. We always do the beginning of the plugs, the guilt and shaming to our audience because we love you so much. We just have to ask for just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Is that all we can get from you? Just a little bit more. If you could refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss 1 on the tickety-tockety over there with the children and whatever the hell they're doing over there. It's a crazy place. Today we had an amazing gentleman on the show, and he's going to be talking to us about his amazing background and company. And in doing so, we're going to learn a whole mess of stuff about leadership, motivation, innovation, you name it. Even like what a happiness manager is. I'm going to find out what a happiness manager is, because evidently I probably need to hire one around here because our miserable manager around the office has been doing too well at his job. Today we have Craig Goodliffe on the show. He's the CEO and co-founder of Cyberbacker, and he's going to be talking to us about the 7 transformative powers of investing in people that enhance profitability and a whole mess of other goody stuff, and how to have happy employees. So if you like happy employees, you want more productivity, you're on the right show. Craig is an entrepreneur, leadership expert, and business coach. He is the CEO and founder of Cyberbacker, the leading provider of virtual assistant and administrative support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. So there you go. Anywhere in the world, around the world. So there you go. He's got the world covered. I don't know about Mars, but we'll ask him when he comes on the show. He is an expert on business development and shares his insight as a Keller Williams MAPS coach who helps clients earn 7-figure incomes, not 8. We'll have to ask him about that too. Craig has been featured in Inc., Top 100 Magazine, International Business Times, and he continues to share his insight. He's a contributor to Grit Daily and the Forbes Business Council. Cyberbacker is changing the lives of small business owners and remote workers through its world-class business. Welcome to the show, Craig. How are you?
Well, after you say all that, I'm pretty dang good.
There you go.
Go ahead and keep saying that before I go somewhere, because you make it sound way better than I do.
You could pay me to just follow you around. What was that thing where the king used to have like a trumpeter?
Yeah.
They would always, everyone, oh, hail, that sort of thing.
The original hype man.
Yeah, I need to get one of those. Note to self. There you go. So give us, Craig, your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs, please?
Cyberbacker.com is usually best.
Mm-hmm.
And anywhere that you can find and connect. I mean, I think all of us we're doing the TikTok with kids, trying to figure it out, making ourselves look like idiot. I mean, we've agreed I shouldn't do another butt shaking video on TikTok. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try because
Yeah.
I want to fit in. But
Yeah.
but anywhere that you can go typing in Cyberbacker, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. Now that we're on the Chris Voss show, we're officially everywhere.
Officially everywhere. There you go. The judge says I can't do the butt shaking on the tickety talk anymore. There's a restraining order, something from the company. So there's that. So let's talk about your company. Give us a 30,000 overview of your company, who you guys are, and what you do.
Well, we're a company that goes ahead and we've identified that there are great people all over the world that, like, starting with a country we're very passionate about, the Philippines, where the average person makes less than 4,000 US dollars per year. And you look at here in the US, where if I'm paying someone minimum wage, they really $7.25 an hour, they can't afford to live.
Yeah.
So if I'm someone that I started a business and it's growing and it's doing good and it's doing some good things in the world, for me to hire someone great, I've either got to charge my customer more, or I have to go ahead and take time from my family because I can't afford to hire someone because big companies have bigger budgets for hiring. And so what we've identified is we've got great people in the Philippines. They can go ahead, minimum wage for them, for our minimum wage, it's a colossal amount of money for them. And when we're able to pay them that and do a little bit better, they can do a great job. They can do anything that doesn't require a license or a certification. And so we solve those two problems. We create jobs and we create time for entrepreneurs.
There you go. So, what's the difference between, I get these messages on LinkedIn all the time. Hire me, one person. I'm in the Philippines or I'm, someplace around the globe, hire me to do your VA. And I'm like, I don't know about, this one person. So what's the difference between someone doing business with maybe an individual or a different company as compared to your company and what you guys do?
Love that you asked that. One of the big things is if you did hypothetically hire someone on LinkedIn and they were to go ahead and do something that would damage your business, what recourse do you really have?
Yeah, you don't.
You don't, because especially in the Philippines, the Philippines Commercial Code says that they're basically protected from an outside foreign party trying to take legal action against them, even if they did something they shouldn't. So we have a legal entity in the Philippines. If someone doesn't do something they should do, or they don't do that, consequences are the same as in the US. So that goes ahead, and that's one piece. The other thing is, Chris, on average, this sounds mind-boggling, but we'll do about 15,000 interviews, or we'll get 15,000 applicants per week, every week. We'll interview about 5,000 of those people. And unfortunately, based on our standards, we only hire people we would bet our company on because that's who our clients are betting on. We'll only maybe go ahead and hire close to 100.
Oh, wow.
15,000 to 5,000 to 100.
Wow.
Yeah. And so doing that and then training them. And then because we want to help them hit their goal, which if you did hire someone, turnover is the enemy. You want them to stay there with you, supporting you and growing together. So we've got a profit share program that pays out every month. After 5 years, they're vested. They get it the rest of their life where they participate in profit share from the company. And we do loans like Cyber Capital so they can buy houses and cars and we profit share the interest. So our job is to go ahead and find you someone that you can bet your business on, train them to a world-class level of service, and then help you retain that person so they stay with you for a long time. And as long as we do that, we're doing our job.
There you go. And you guys are trusted per your website by over 3,900 smart business professionals in the U.S. So tell us a little bit about your origin story. What got you into this and kind of how did you grow up and kind of get into these formats of business?
Well, I think the big thing is it's an ongoing origin story. For this year, the thing that I'm focusing on is if you're a parent, I suggest any leader, you think about it from a parent's lens or anything. But I think about if my son were going to go to work at a company and I wasn't allowed to be his boss, but I could tell them, here's how I want you to treat my son. These are the things I'd have him do. Write him a birthday card, send him a video, let him know you care about him. And here's the things that would make him feel cared about in the environment so he could do a great job and bring out his best. And so that's one of the lenses or origin stories I have right now. As far as building out Cyberbacker, I had someone contact me back in 2012, Daphne, and she helped me just post ads from the Philippines on a classified website, Craigslist, because when you're in real estate, we used to do that. And I find out this amazing woman went ahead and she went to the hospital to have a baby. her and her boyfriend. He was in a life that was a little bit of drugs and crime, and she
Oh,
didn't want to take this baby. That she went home with a stranger from the hospital. And while
oh,
she's living with this stranger she just met at the hospital, she's trying to find a job, and she came to work online.
wow. And
So
so she was your first
yeah,
VA hire, I guess?
yeah. And I didn't put
Huh.
people to work, but I learned later that in the Philippines, because the Philippines was part of the United States up until the late 1950s, and so English
Oh,
is
yeah.
taught from kindergarten on. That's why a lot of companies they'll have these call centers out of the Philippines, but call centers starting pay is only $240 per month. That's not a
Wow.
lot.
Wow.
So that's typically who we go try to find because they've worked
Mhm.
graveyard shift. They've worked with people all over the world. We teach them some skills. We teach them some things to help their clients' business better, and everybody wins.
There you go. Trustability is a huge element for me
Yeah.
in working with people. I mean, I can't trust half the U.S. people, let alone somebody from another country. And so,
Right.
and I'm concerned too that if we let them get into the back end of things, I let somebody, try and help out with my LinkedIn account. We've grown a
Mhm.
huge LinkedIn account. I would cry. I'd probably do more than cry. I'd cry for a
Oh, yeah.
very long time if we lost our LinkedIn account.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody accidentally hit delete. I've had family members that are young that are like, "Hey, Chris, can we come work for you and we'll do your social media?" And I'm like, you hit delete on the wrong day, and I lose everything that I built for 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I don't think LinkedIn would be there. They're like, "What'd you do? You're an idiot. Just stay off our platform." And other things that you build online or, like a website. I mean, websites are pretty easy to get back. You can just, you can run a
Yeah.
backup and pull it back up. But, somebody could do something pretty evil. We've had people copy our emails in the Chris Voss show and send them out to
Mhm.
get product reviews and stuff. And fortunately, most people were smart enough to go, I don't think this is Chris Voss.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff they could do. Sometimes they could steal the secret sauce, the proprietary aspects and stuff. So how do you guys ensure that the people you're hiring, it sounds like you go through quite the filtration purpose,
Yeah.
make sure that they're of maybe high quality people, trustable, things like that.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things we test for, there's an assessment in the beginning they take that
Hmm.
actually has one of the vectors is integrity. We can tell the probability
Oh,
that they're going to lie to us.
yeah.
And it asks a series of questions, like those moral questions we all have, like, is it stealing if you take a piece of bread to feed your family? And it
Wow.
goes ahead and asks those questions. And so we can tell in specific situations how likely someone is to steal. The second is when people don't know the ramifications, they know they
Mhm.
can just do whatever they want. They
Yeah.
typically will, hence why that entity is so important. But also, having something you can go back to, which if someone's new for a lot of positions in our company, we've got a software that says, okay, this is going to go ahead and make sure you're not doing anything you shouldn't do.
Oh,
And
really?
in addition to that, they're working with a head backer who's saying, here's how you do your job and here's how you do a great job.
Wow. And
So
so
two things.
people can save a whole lot more money by doing business with the VAs that you have. They can have a lot more
Yeah.
better security, a lot more trust in the background of what they're doing. What are some of the other great features that you guys find there?
Well, that and also when you get people working for a cause. When we talk about
Mm,
profit share, and if
mhm.
you do a great job 5 years here, you're vested, you get that the rest of your life. You're really giving people in the Philippines their dignity because what's common there is for people to have kids and the kids take care of the parents. And
Oh,
we've got a
really?
lot of our great people that are taking care of their parents, their kids, their aunts, their uncles, their nieces, and nephews. And they're
Wow.
wondering when my time comes, who's going to take care of me? When
Ah,
we say we've got this great profit share plan, help us take care of our company, and this is going to take care of you. When people know that's a long-term solution that's going to take care of them, they don't bite the hand that feeds.
there you go. There you go.
So,
That's an important aspect. Now, one of the things that you guys had sent over to me was the 7 transformative powers
yeah,
of investing in people. Should we dig into that? Because I really
yeah,
am interested in that.
yeah.
Talk to us about what these 7 transformative powers are, and will they help me pronounce things better?
Well, so this is going out of order. I didn't pull it up in front of me. But
Yeah.
looking at one of the first things that we notice makes a difference is people do good when they feel good.
Ah,
And when you look at why people are struggling in this post-pandemic world, a lot of people just feel lonely.
hmm,
And so you talk about our happiness manager, we call them a fun backer, but it's someone who just checks in who actually cares about you. We don't hire people that are selfish. We hire people that are selfless. We're going to
ah,
get on there and say, how are you? How's your family? What are you working on? What are your goals? What are you feeling about your job? And there's just someone who they're basically a friend who's doing a check-in, who's getting to know them, their entire job is making sure that person feels cared about, supported. And sometimes it's just doing something nice. Like, hey, just so you know, we got this feedback from your client. This is really cool. Congratulations. I shared it with the company.
There you go. I used to do a little bit of that as CEO. I used to call it touching back in the day, but HR says I can't call it that anymore. I mean, the touching reference was to touching hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And so it was checking in with them and, how are you doing? How's the family? Because a lot of times, sometimes my employees, you had to be a psychiatrist to be a CEO. And so a lot of times if something was off gear in their private life, I'm going through divorce or, I'm separating or the kids are, there's some sort of thing at home. They can't stay, like you said, on game because they're not happy.
Yeah. And so when they're talking to someone and they say, hey, here's what I'm experiencing. This is what I'm going through. And they've built that relationship with them where they feel like they can talk about having a hard time going through a divorce. They can go ahead and tell everyone around them, hey, this person just needs a little extra love. Let's make work their happy escape from what they're experiencing in their personal life. And then that's back to, if my son were here, what would I want him to feel? What would I want him to experience? And so that's that happiness manager / fun backer. It's taking care of the emotional well-being of the person.
Mm-hmm. And then when people hire the VAs through you, do you pick the VAs for us, or do we get to interview the VAs and decide which ones might be the best fit?
It's several processes to go ahead and find the right person. We're going to go ahead and narrow it down to the top 100 that we'll bring on. And then we let people do a rapid fire where they're going to interview a bunch of them. And then they pick who do they want to spend more time with, or we do need to go back to the drawing board and find them someone else. So sometimes we're like, we've got that perfect person, and we'll just call them and be like, found your dream person, your dream partner, let's go. But most of the time, like 99%, we're gonna do that rapid fire interview, pick someone you like, make sure it's working, check in with them. Yeah.
There you go. Is there contracts involved where you have to hire them for a specific amount of time, or?
Yeah. There's one of the things that when you look at what doesn't work in that industry, you have a lot of people that are concerned about job security. That's how they'll determine where they want to go. When there's job security, you get a higher quality caliber. When people don't have job security, what we've noticed, because for a while we went ahead and played with, well, we're not going to offer that, or this client doesn't want to do that. But when someone knows that they've got job security for a year, as long as they do a good job and their KPIs are hit, you're able to hire a higher quality of talent. And so that's something that we say, that there's an agreement. You've got some job security for a year, come in, do a good job. People feel good about it. We're able to get the best talent. And most of the time, that's what people want from us. They want to know that their person is like the person. So,
yeah, that's really important as well. So attracting top talent is, I think, one of your 7 transformative powers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, go ahead.
Well, there's more with that. And what we discovered for attracting top talent, you have to see what your current people have. What are their goals? What do they want? We found out that a lot of our people, they're paid in US dollars. When they go to the bank and people hear you work for a foreign company, they weren't loaning them money to buy houses and cars. And that's a goal for them. So we set up our lending company to loan them money to buy houses and cars. We profit share the interest, which all that helps with retention. But really, that was just saying, what do they want and how do we help them get it?
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So one of the transformative things is just helping people hit their goals, because if not, they're going to leave you and go hit them anyway without you.
You want good people working for you. What are some other aspects that are on the 7 transformative powers of investing?
Well, so going ahead and making your values known, which a lot of people talk about it. Our first one is it's always going to be relationships. That's first and foremost. It's a relationship with our families, with ourselves, with our creator, with our clients, with each other. It's all about the relationships first. And we find that when we hire people that focus on the relationship first, and they're just naturally wired that way, we do better because we want the same things. When you hire someone, and so ours are relationship first, personal growth is second, having fun's third, and fourth is wealth and abundance. When you hire people who are here for the wealth and abundance, they want to have fun, but they're kind of somewhat interested in relationships, and personal growth is a maybe. We don't do too good with them, because that person's going to come in, and when they're not getting the wealth and abundance, they're going for someone else looking for the wealth and abundance. It's always a grass is greener mentality. When we hire people who are concerned about the relationship and they've got strong family relationships. They've got a great relationship with their friends. You hire someone who the reason they go to work is for those people, best people you can work with, and everything else just happens for them.
There you go. I noticed one thing that's on your website, free classes and training schedule for different, there's virtual classes, masterminds, game room and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that we identified with providing one of the lowest cost labor forces out there is for some people, when they're hiring an assistant, this is the first person they've ever hired.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is like a 16-year-old getting their driver's license, and it's just as scary. And you wouldn't take a brand new 16-year-old kid and say, hey, go drive a Ferrari. Yet some of the people we're hiring, they are Ferraris. I mean, they're incredible.
Yeah.
My assistant, Jen, and she's with me right here I've got her on another computer right here. And we just sit here all day and we work together. It's a woman with a degree in engineering. I mean, she built microprocessors. I mean, she is far and above. She's got better education than me. She's smarter than me. She's more organized than me. I'm lucky to go ahead and be in business with someone like that.
There you go. That's what she told me too.
Oh, that's what it should have said. Yeah. But if I were someone she was the first person I was hiring ever, I wouldn't be the right leader for her. I would need some training to figure out how do you go ahead and how do you lead someone like that? How do you get them to feel good about coming to work with you?
There you go. And probably setting expectations and managing them.
Well, more than anything, it's with Jen, it's figuring out what her goals are and saying, how do I help you hit your goals? You want to get smarter? Great. Let's read a book together.
There you go.
You want to learn this? Let's take a class. And it's with the people that are close to you in your world. It's doing things that make them better and make you better.
There you go. And I suppose one of the benefits I like about, I used to have hundreds of employees, and I've had thousands over the years. I mean, when I had our big companies, I could have written 4 books if I would have written down all the stories that we had of all the crazy shit that went on with employees. I mean, sexual harassment between 2 guys. I mean, you name it, fist fights in the halls over multi-level marketing and companies, which one's the best. I think you guys are in Utah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were too. That's how we were doing that thing. Or we'd be like, wait, somebody had a fist fight in the parking lot over which multi-level company is better. And we're a mortgage company. What does that have to do with us? And why do I have to clean up this mess? That sort of crap. Somebody is like, what is this? Why is this my problem? But welcome to running a company. And so the nice thing about using VAs is you're not going to have that sort of issues. You're not going to be in courts for sexual harassment. It's a little bit harder to get employee theft,
Yeah, you could. It's just something that it's a little bit harder to do.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, for us to go after someone in the Philippines, you got to have a company or something there. For them to come after us and go to the Utah Labor Division or to go to someone over here, it's not hard and they'll listen.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, there you go.
We've had it where someone tried to make a nightmare for us. We've had clients say some inappropriate things to some people.
Really?
Where we don't want to have to intervene, but we're getting to intervene a little bit because there's a certain professional level of conduct expected.
Definitely.
So it's doing it so everybody wins, and sometimes it's just, hey, you know what? Let's find you someone that's going to work better with you.
There you go. And the benefit too is, you don't have to have an office. You don't have to be the big brick and mortar office, the secretary, the desks, the employees are working at their desks and stuff. And it probably fits more now with remote working that's going on. I mean, remote working is probably a big transition for you guys to be able to go, hey, we're lined up for this.
Well, it's that, and then also staffing for it. Like we've got one of the other fun things that we're in. I've got a venue I own right next door here. And we've got a telepresence robot in there driven by someone in the Philippines. So if someone's stopping by and they walk into this beautiful historic building we have and there's not an event going on, like, hey, what's this place? Well, someone from the Philippines driving a telepresence robot can walk them through.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to come up to Ogden and see that, man.
Come visit.
There you go. There you go. What are some other aspects of those 7 series we haven't touched on? I know we've been flip-flopping around here.
Well,
having some fun.
Of course, we've got a lot of great stuff that's going to go into it.
Yeah.
One of the other things that's very transformative is it's having the right leaders because they've got the same culture as you, meaning you want the right things for your company and so do they, but you've got a reason. And so one of the things we're playing with next year is in the Philippines, one of the things that really touches my emotions is they have street children and you've got these kids selling Sampaguita flowers and they're trying to just get some food for the day. And
Yeah.
that just hurts my heart because I don't think any kid should ever go through that.
Mhm.
And so right now we're looking at what would it cost us to be able to adopt an orphan as a company, and how do we do that? And when you start talking about a cause that touches the people in your organization, that's when you get your best work out of them,
There
because
you
they're not
go.
just coming to work for a paycheck; they're coming to work to make a difference.
Yeah.
So
And the livelihood, I think it's great that you guys are offering these opportunities. And yeah, it can be a little bit sketch when I get these messages, from some person and a thing, and I don't know them. The company's based out of the Philippines, and
yeah,
I've always been one of those people that I like knowing I can either go over to someone's office or I can send an attorney letter to.
yeah,
And I'm a big fan of that because if I want to hold somebody responsible, we've had people rip us off outside of the U.S. and it's really hard to go track down your money
yeah,
and fix whatever the issue is. But here, you can you can deal with people. So it's great that you guys are here, and then you hire really well. I imagine I could waste tons and tons of time trying to go through all the all the. Dude, I get like 50,000 messages a day on
oh
LinkedIn.
yeah.
I think it's so insane.
There's a cyberbacker to handle that too.
Oh yeah, that and podcast promoters, and what's the other big thing we get? Website redesigners. I
Yeah.
mean, if I had $1 for every one, I'd be a millionaire by now.
Oh, I believe it.
It's crazy. They see we post the podcasts over there and cuts of the podcasts over there, and we have the big LinkedIn newsletter, and so we just get a flood of them. It's just insane. So yeah, you guys being able to filter and qualify all that out, so I don't have to deal with all that riffraff. I don't have to try and find the best people. You guys take that headache away from me.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and also when you've got a company who's actually advertising up there, like we've got billboards. So if people are sitting in traffic, they're
oh
like,
really?
we've got a funny billboard that's basically, if you worked at our company, you wouldn't be sitting in traffic right now, you'd be working from home. And then we've got their one of the major trains over there, their light rail systems, it's wrapped. So they'll go to work in the call center, but they're riding a train that's wrapped Cyberbacker because that's who we want to work with us.
There you go.
And so we're able to go ahead and just simply by finding more candidates, we're able to find a better quality than most.
There you go. And then pay wise, I guess, how do you guys negotiate the pay back and forth between the companies, or
Yeah,
how does that work?
Yeah, we take care of all of it. We take
Okay.
care of their health care. We take care of if they need money for cyber care. I mean, the only thing that our clients take care of is if they say, hey, this person's great, I want to give them a raise. Great, we give them a raise. That's goes between those guys. If they say they want a one-time bonus, hey, great, we help them facilitate that. But some of the stuff we help add in, like we know a lot of our great clients are so busy, they're going to forget to just, hey, do something nice for your cyberbacker. It's their birthday. So we'll go ahead and say, hey, we went ahead and sent them a cake. It's from both of us.
There you go.
So
Well,
things.
that's another big benefit, the
Yeah.
cost of health insurance.
Oh yeah.
And that's just out of control in this country, especially if you're an employer.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's one of those things that if you want a great group rate, you got to have a good sized group.
Yeah, and even
ridiculous.
And even if you have a good sized group, the people that might have health issues in that group can sink the whole group.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing we had with our companies is, they would come to us and be like, you have 2 employees that they're very unhealthy and they have a lot of medical problems, and they're probably going to, increase everyone's fees. And it's like, well, turns out they were always our best employees. So we're like, that's just the way it goes. But having to deal with it, the paperwork, all the, and don't get me started on all the taxes you've got to fill out for stuff. What is the situation if you hire VAs for those people who are out there in the business field? Is it different than what you do with the IRS here locally, or how does that work?
No, there's an international tax standard that you follow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where the last thing you want to do is get in trouble with Uncle Sam.
You don't. Nope.
So you've got to fill out all sorts of extra form paperwork and all sorts of fun stuff like that. We've spent a lot of time with accountants in both countries and attorneys saying, here is the exact right way to do it, so everybody's safe.
There you go. Yeah.
So
you still have to file like the W-2s and all that sort of things, but are you guys like an employee sort of leasing company where you guys handle that portion of it, or
we handle all that because our clients
they
don't need to go ahead and fill out another W-2 or another 1099 or anything like that based on classification. You're hiring us to do all that for you. We handle all those services. Done beautifully.
I love that.
Yeah.
Less forms for moi.
Yeah, we
That's
take care of
awesome.
all that HR stuff. So
There you go. That works out really good. I like that sort of thing. Now, do the W-2s come out in your name or in our name?
well, remember, you're dealing with another country where they don't
Yeah.
even have the same tax forms.
Oh, okay, so they have
So
some.
it's just an expense like you just paid Cyberbacker. That's it.
There you go.
And
There
then
you
we
go.
take care of everything else, classifications, all that.
That's the best way to go. Less
Yeah.
forms, less brain damage. What are
Yeah.
some other aspects of your company and benefits that you guys do that we haven't touched on?
There's a lot of different ones. We can help people zero out the cost of their Cyberbacker because we reward loyalty and referrals and stuff like that. That's a big one. We were always looking at how do we go ahead and show our clients we care, make it even more affordable for them. We go ahead and we can retrain people. So if you have someone and they were using a system that's antiquated and you're looking at using a different system, a lot of times we have people who are already doing it who can train them with experience. So, well, it's kind of like if you were going to go buy a big semi and you were going to drive it, you'd either need to get your CDL, but if you already had someone working with you who was driving a regular truck and you said, hey, can you go certify my person to have their CDL and drive it? Well, we can do that for you. So, you know, that you're set. And then also sometimes, unfortunately, people will leave your company. And when they come to us and say, hey, I'm having a baby, I had a death in the family, I had whatever reason they have for quitting, we can make sure that next person's trained, up to speed, ready to go. It happens fast. So that way you don't experience any downtime.
There you go. Now, is there a minimum size company or amount of spend that someone needs to have with you to onboard? You know, I mean, I know a lot of individual entrepreneurs that, you know, they're just one or two people working and they have a cadre of VAs they like to have, or do you have to be like, you know, IBM or?
No, this is everybody. And it's depending on the work, because if you're saying I need something that it doesn't need to be done on a graveyard shift, it's data entry, it's something so basic, we're looking at what's the going rate for that job. I mean, what's something comparable that we can hire someone at that they can expect to make. And then we can go ahead and build, you know, you charge them based on that. I mean, it's different hiring someone to do data entry than it is hiring a full stack web developer. I mean, we can do both and we're willing to help people and do both, but the costs are very different based on that. So every one of our customers we walk through and say, basically, this is what it's going to cost to fill the position. This is what hires someone and gets them great. And we're able to see if it's in their budget. For some of our clients, we help them calculate return on investment to see if it makes sense. Because sometimes they'll come to us, we'll talk about it, and we're like, hey, if you hire someone to do that, it's not going to make you any money. And it's not really going to save you any time.
There you go.
Let's maybe not do that. Let's try this. This is working for some other people. We think it can work for you. So they'll help you with that. And then also you can take some of these positions that this would be nice to have, but it's not going to increase revenue. It's not going to save any time. And we'll say, well, if we had them do these tasks, then it would. And you break even or make money on the position.
There you go. Well, I love it. I'm glad you guys got the service working because, you know, we're getting to the point where we need to hire some VAs for everything, including my job. Can we get a VA guy to do this? No, I love doing this part. This is my favorite part, being the host. I get paid like $2 a day.
There you go.
Yeah, $2. Is that
self-employment? Some of us pay to go to work.
Yeah, $2. They said if I'm good and I stay another year, I might get $210. So yeah, I mean, I know, man, it's a lot to carry around, but
it's coming.
I got some investment people working on where to put it. But no, VAs are really popular. I always heard good things about the Philippines. But yeah, like I said, I get all these messages and I'm like, oh man, how do you evaluate these people and how do you know who's going to rip you off or, you know, run off with your company assets, et cetera, et cetera.
Chris, there's a lot of them that, I mean, this is one of the sad truths out there, and they will train people to do this where they'll go find someone, a client, they'll say, teach me to do this, teach me this, and they'll basically eat up a week where you think you're setting someone up, but their job is professionally to go find people like you and just get as many people as they can, and they know they're going to get hired, make some money, get fired, and that's their business model.
Wow.
And they're just going to do that as many times as they can.
Wow.
Well, what's stopping them from doing that?
Yes,
there's no regulation. There's no stopping. So you think about their way of making money is it's just finding new potential clients, telling them whatever they need to hear to get paid, and then going ahead and looking for the next sucker. But they're not calling it a scam.
There you go. There you go.
Unfortunately,
And you
that's
guys are probably seeing it all. You guys are probably pretty
yeah.
handy with all the different scams and different
Oh,
things maybe
I
you're
get
seeing
I get
people trying in the
calls from
Philippines.
people in the Philippines saying, "Do you know this person? They didn't pay me." And I'm like, "Well, we're both in the U.S., so there's that." But
Oh,
I don't know that person. And then I get the other side where we'll get people in the US to say, "Have you ever worked with this person?" And I'm going, "Oh boy, what happened?" And I've heard of people just scamming people out of a lot of money and stuff like that. And
yeah.
it's a fantastic business model, provided it can be done with integrity.
There you go. There you go. And that's the real big key. And that's why you guys spend so much time hiring right, interviewing people, knowing what you're looking for. It sounds like you have some good personality or character developments. Any final thoughts as we go out and pitches as we go out?
Well, I think the big thing is if you really want to win in business, the way you win the game is you start with every job and you go ahead and eventually give up every job to where you've hired someone who's at your level or better to do it, whether they're in the Philippines, whether they're local. But that's how you win the game of business. And where people go ahead and lose the game of business is when they get stuck and they still have a bunch of jobs that they can't hire out. And that ends up to where you don't own a business, you own a job, and really that job owns you.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's that makes all the difference in the world. Well, thank you very much, Craig, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
There you go. And give us .com one more time so people can find you on the interwebs.
Yeah, cyberbacker.com.
There you go. And thanks, Ryan, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Foss, youtube.com/Chris Foss, all those crazy places around the internet. If you know someone who's looking for a VA, refer them over to Cyberbacker or pick one up for yourself. Pick up a VA for yourself. What is that, like a carton of milk? Don't do that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time.